Good
We
evening,
live.
everyone. We are live and welcome to our sip and chat tonight. You see who you got with you tonight? You got me, Dr. Carissa, and we got Daryl, Mr. AKA Big Mike. We will be rocking with you at the beginning, and Mary and April will be joining us shortly. So let's start with current events. Anything on your radar, Daryl?
Current events would be. I think we talked about the stabbing last week. I mean,
Okay.
attempted stabbing, and or did we? I can't remember. Um, last week was so long ago.
And I
So
missed last week.
I know, it was terrible. It was a terrible show without you.
Oh, I appreciate
Current
that.
events. Um, I'm trying to think. This was like a down week, really. I guess after all the we'll say excitement of last week with the guilty verdict, and it's
Hmm.
like this week everybody's kind of like trying to recuperate from that. Um,
Hmm.
'Cause it was like really, and the week for me went by so fast. Um, it didn't seem like there was anything that really resonated that I can remember offhand.
Okay.
As far as topics.
Okay. Well, I know just current events in my own neighborhood. The fireworks have started, even though there's nothing
Oh,
going on.
already?
Two nights ago they started. Ridiculous.
Maybe they're celebrating the guilty verdict.
Really, 2 nights ago, and not the first night that it happened.
they just they just were able to
So
get
they just picked up the fireworks 2 days ago.
they just picked them up. They just picked them up.
All I know is
They said they're
it's
gonna celebrate
it's
it.
ridiculous. It's annoying. Like, why do you need to do this? You know. I mean,
It,
I'm wondering if it's just to cover up the gunshots.
it could be that may be the Cam. What's going on?
Hey, Kip, how you
Hi,
doing?
I'm doing good.
Good to see you.
Thank you.
What you
Good to
doing?
see y'all
What
too.
you? Where you at, Cam?
I'm in Texas.
Word.
I
All my
was in
exes
Philly.
live
I
in
was in
Texas. Okay.
Philly last week, but yeah, it was my
Gotcha.
husband. It
Gotcha.
was it was my husband's birthday.
Oh,
Okay.
happy
Okay.
belated.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. And I skipped over a step. I'm sipping on water tonight, guys. That's what
Oh,
I'm
there you
rocking
go.
with. Daryl, what you sipping on?
I don't have anything as of yet.
Okay.
I will be stopping to get something soon.
Okay. What's that, Kim?
Water.
Okay. All right.
It's Ozarka. I would prefer to drink Dasani or even Save a Lot water, whatever. But I do have some,
Hard
like
lemonade.
something.
Okay. Okay. All right. I
You
didn't
got Mike's
recognize
Hard
the
Lemonade.
label.
Who you trying to
Yes.
fight?
This weather out here, but otherwise I'm good. It was
What's
like
the
a
weather like
flash
out there,
flood
Cam?
warning, and then I wake up. I woke up at five. I woke up at like 5:30. Something told me to move my rental car because my car is in the shop. And then I was like, "No, I'm gonna lay it back." I was like, I'm gonna let my child sleep a little longer." Had taken to daycare, but by the time I get ready to take him to daycare, I'm stuck.
Mm.
But I was able to I got help, so I'm good.
Hey, Ronnie.
So what's the weather like out? So what's the weather like out there?
She said, "Hey, everyone."
Yes. Hey, Ronnie. Any current
Hi.
events? Any current events, Camp?
The current events that I've seen, there's this young man who got killed, just like who was killed. The police held him down for like 5 minutes, and he was
What?
Mexican American, and they sent him to the hospital, but he was already dead before he reached the hospital.
Mm.
Um, and then it's just been a lot of killings and shootings and all kinds of stuff. Like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
sentencing stuff like that. Um, yeah, I just see just craziness happening.
Mm-hmm.
There's
I do
also been some
agree.
education initiatives. One school in Florida, they're telling teachers if you have been vaccinated, don't come back to work.
Really?
If you
Yes,
have
because
been vaccinated,
if you have been vaccinated, stay home. The teachers, they
why?
said they because they have a thing where it's a like little independent private school. They have it's for uber ultra the wealthy people, but they were saying that they feel as though they could give something to students who have not been vaccinated.
Cap 50 premium, please. Thank you.
Hey, Liz.
So
They
I
the,
think
the people that are vaccinated could give something to the unvaccinated people.
right. So
Okay.
that's a thing now. But they're asking vaccinated teachers not to come to work.
Kind of seems
So what are
backwards to
they?
me,
Are
but
they? Are they saying that the unvaccinated teachers should come to work?
Yes, they're
yes.
allowing unvaccinated
What?
teachers to come to work, but not the vaccinated ones.
Oh.
Yeah, that sounds
So
odd.
it's like it's just a lot of people saying they have their own, they're spreading their own conspiracy theories about
Mm-hmm.
how it could harm children that are not vaccinated yet, that are
Mm-hmm.
not vaccinated yet.
So this is only
Um,
one school that's doing that.
one school in Florida, yes.
Okay. Okay.
Mm. Interesting. A little strange.
That school is backwards, and I don't know why we were talking about it.
I know, right? But I just thought it was like interesting. I'm trying to. It's a lot going on, but depends on
Yeah,
what
yeah,
you're
yeah.
into. I don't really watch TV like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Okay. So what
I
do you do?
kind of do social media,
Mm-hmm.
sleep, work.
Sounds boring.
So how was your stay in Philly?
My stay in Philly was really good. I got a facial, got a massage. What else? I got a lot of stuff done. I feel like that.
Okay,
What
nice,
what'd you
nice.
get done? A facial and a massage. That's two things.
Oh, I got other stuff done, but that's not appropriate. So
What else you get done? We all grown. What else you get done?
I had the toddler. I got
Oh,
but
got you,
well,
got you.
I like to call it body works.
Okay.
Body Works.
Yeah, you get all of it.
What's
Like
that?
you get every you
You
get a
got
little
a
this,
you
you get
got
a
one of
little
them
that.
happy ending massages. You
Ooh.
nasty.
No,
You are
the
nasty.
my massage therapist is a seasoned female.
Whore. Yeah. She sounds like she's nasty.
She did her aromatherapy. No, but
And yeah,
I
it sound
got
like
other
her hands.
massages, but not from
It
her.
sounded like her hand was roaming to me. Look at that smile on your face.
Oh, it
Look.
wasn't from because her hands. It was because of my husband's hands. So
Okay.
So he had to help out, and y'all paid for that.
I don't know about that.
Mm-mm-mm.
I
What
had a
kind of
personal
stuff?
massage done by my
Oh,
massage therapist.
what kind of stuff? Camp? What's going on?
I don't know what you into, girl. Don't put that
Oh,
on me. Don't
wait,
project
wait.
yourself onto me.
Wait. First of all, I didn't project extra hands, Roman massages. Listen, I didn't project that. I just want to know what's going on.
But we did hang out for his birthday. We went to lunch, hung out,
Sound like a
spent some
lot was hanging out
family
for his
time.
birthday.
I mean, if that's how you want to put it, but I don't know about that. I mean, Daryl, if you want to hang yourself out, more the
Yeah,
merrier to
you,
whomever you feel like
you,
it.
you. I know you want to see me hang out, but we're not doing that.
I didn't say that, but okay. I don't think I insinuated that either. I said if you want to hang out with
Oh,
somebody else
it
and
was,
put it
it
out
was,
there, that's all good.
listen, all right, listen. I'm just saying. I know. Listen, we'll let it hang out another time. We'll talk about that another time.
I think so.
Well,
Hey,
what's going
Doc,
on in your neck of the woods, Daryl?
I don't know. We're talking about things hanging out. Anything hanging out in your neck of the woods, Doc? What you got hanging
Not a
out? You heard about
thing.
people got hanging out?
Not a thing.
Are you getting your brush up? Did you get some coffee or something? What are you getting now?
Me?
Yeah, who else I'm talking to?
I didn't move. I'm sitting here.
But when you order, didn't you order something?
Oh, gas. Yeah, I already $50 worth of gas. $50 worth of coffee is a lot of coffee. That'd be a whole lot of coffee.
Like you trying to stay up for the next couple weeks?
Yeah, I'm up. I'm
Okay.
up. You know what I mean? I'm up through July.
It's it's different seeing you without your mic. So
Listen, my mic is hanging out. We know what you're saying. We know what's going on here. I hear you. I hear you.
Are you back in the office yet, Daryl?
No, so they said the earliest would be I think September 1st.
Oh
oh
wow.
wow, why so
But
long?
I don't know. I wasn't in on the meeting. They didn't let me in on a meeting. But I think because I mean the numbers were high at that point when they did it. People weren't getting the vaccine and things of that nature. So I believe they said that as they just threw that out there as an arbitrary number.
Okay.
They will start to. I think I think they'll have like waves or give you certain times where you can go in office if you need certain things.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that'll start happening, but I don't think we'll ever go back to a full 9 to 5 day in the office. I just don't think that that's what'll happen from this point on. I think they'll have it the way it is because the work is getting done at home at this point. All the work
Mm-hmm.
is getting done, so they're proving that it could work this way.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's days we may need to go in and do some printing or something like that. But other than that, I think we'll be home. I don't think that we'll
Mm-hmm.
ever return back to that regular way of life. And nor do I want to. I never want to go back to the office. For what?
Mm-hmm.
What's the
It's
point?
not. Yeah, it's nothing really there for me. Like people are like, oh, I want to go back. I miss people. Well, you're boring. You don't have a life. Kill yourself.
Do I
Right?
miss people? I don't know about that. Oh well, yeah. I like hanging out by
Yeah.
myself a lot of times.
Well, it's not hanging out by myself. I have a real life outside of work. I have friends and things
True.
outside of work. So I don't really, I'm not trying to chill with people at work. I barely talk to people there. You know what I mean? So it's not really a
Yeah.
thing for me to be there. I don't want to be there. I'm cool where I am. And the schedule works for me at home. You know what I mean?
Mm. Hey,
So
Ned.
I just see people like with the whole vaccine thing. I feel I've heard of a few people getting the vaccine. People getting the vaccine, but they're still getting COVID. So
Mm-hmm.
it's just a lot. You still have to wear your
Mm-hmm.
mask and protect yourself and all that good
Mm-hmm.
stuff.
So
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the people
Yes.
that I know were, so say out of a billion people, it happened to two people, and usually what happens is they may have had COVID. Say you got it, the COVID maybe 2 days before you had the shot. It's not going to show up in you at that time because it still has to mature and the numbers have to be high enough to show on the test. And what happens is
Mm.
they get vaccinated and then they'll test positive for it. But it wasn't like they already had it pre-vaccination usually. But again,
Well,
there's always things going to happen. Right.
yes, yes, because my family member that passed away, she got COVID and she gave it to her spouse who was already vaccinated, but he didn't
Word.
get sick. Yeah, he didn't get
Got you.
sick. He tested
Got you.
positive once she tested positive and went to the hospital, they tested him and he
Got you.
tested positive as well, but he didn't get any symptoms.
Got you. And I think that's a big part of getting vaccinated, right? You don't get the symptoms,
Yes.
especially the symptoms that are the life-threatening symptom. So,
Mhm.
I mean, there's pros and cons in it. Like I said, if you're going to do it, do it. If you're not going to do it, don't do it. It's not really. Hey, Ruth. How you doing,
Hey
Ruth?
Neil, how you
Hey
doing?
Ruth.
Hey, Neil. Her name says Ruth, so I'm gonna go with Ruth. I don't know who Neil is.
Did
Okay,
you say
no
Ruth or
nicknames.
Ruth? Which one did you say?
Ruth.
Did you say
I
Ruth
said
or Ruth?
Ruth is on top of your house. Ruth.
I know,
Th.
but I was trying to figure out which how you pronounced it. I don't know.
I know.
Sorry, it's
I know
my
you.
hearing.
You all on this microphone.
I just wanted to make sure you pronounced it right.
I
That's
listen.
all.
I get it.
No, I
I
don't want
hear
you
what
disrespecting my
I
my
got you.
my
I
friend.
hear you.
Okay.
I hear you. This
Hey
mic, one mic,
Tanya.
all of this mic.
You put the call in and then all your people show up.
Hey,
Hey, I'm setting up. I'm coming. I'm coming.
Ruth
I feel
slash
you.
Neil said, "Hush, Daryl."
Right.
Uh,
Hirsch,
oh
not
wait.
hush,
You
but
know what?
Hirsch.
You know
Hirsch.
what? Take
Hirsch.
take take my high back now. Ruth,
Hirsch.
cancel.
Like we
Ruth,
say down south,
Ruth. Now
Hirsch.
you're gonna be Ruth. Get off the line. We don't want you commenting all night. I don't want to hear your comments. Okay? No, I tell you. And,
That's funny though, as people will pronounce your name however they want.
Yes, Ladrea, and I'd be like, that is not my name. It's a J.
I'm Clarissa, lots of
well,
places.
And
I
I'm
mean,
I'm Latoya a lot of places, and I'd be like, that's like calling me out my name. Do not call me no Latoya. That means you can't read.
well, not really, because we don't read whole words sometimes. We read by association. So you look at something, and that's how they can get it wrong,
But they
right?
had to
So
poop.
they have to poop. What?
I said a
Who
hoop,
got?
like it
Who got a?
curves.
What are we
It
talking
had
about pooping
curves.
for? This has
My
nothing to do with
no, I
pooping.
said the T, my J curves. So it's LaJoya.
Oh, oh mine goes straight. Mine don't curve.
You know what? You always take stuff out of context, but it's okay. You need some attention. I get it. No issues.
I mean, I'm just saying. Oh man.
Hey, Mary.
Hey, I'm setting
So
up. I'll be
what,
here in
what's
5 more seconds.
what's
Go ahead, Daryl. Hey, Mary.
Hi, Mary.
Hey,
How
hey,
are
Nat.
you?
Oh my God, I'm good. Just getting in from the airport. How are y'all? I heard y'all laughing and talking about name pronouncings and stuff.
Mm-hmm. How people don't read, as Camp said, and just kind of say your name the way they want.
Right, right, right. Hey, Ruth. I heard him fussing about somebody about you calling Ruth Neal.
Uh-huh. Yes,
They're
yes,
always got to
yes.
fuss. You're not even right if you don't fuss.
Mm-hmm. Or do you have a drink in hand?
I got water.
We all got
Oh,
water
I got
tonight.
Ozark. You got Deer Park. That's what you
Yes.
got. It was
I
water
got
filtration.
filtered.
I filter water.
hmm Yes, I was going to make a pineapple margarita. I just
Where mine
didn't
at?
get around to it.
Well, I was like, okay, in like rush mode, like, okay, wait. Doc said she called. Wait a minute, I got hurry up.
I'm like, oh wait a minute, I'm the only one here. What is happening?
Hey,
What am
April.
I going to talk to myself about?
Hi guys.
Hey,
Look, you can all
April.
look.
We all
Hi.
dragging in, huh?
Hey Ruth.
We already had the hush Daryl going on.
Yes, he's driving around.
What, trying to get a better signal?
And I guess he said he was going to rock with us for as long as he could, and now he's going. So maybe that was as long as he could. Up there he is.
He just popped back in. Yep.
Yes.
In his dark vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
Black Knight.
So he a Black Knight?
So April
The
or Mary, do you have any current events or things you want to talk about before we start the topic?
It's cold in Philly. That's my current event.
Yes.
I got on a whole bunch of clothes. That's my current event.
Is that well? You know what it did? It was windy in Philly today.
Yes, it was.
Very windy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, landing was challenging. But other than that, Doc, no, I don't know what's happening in the 191 zip codes.
Okay.
I don't have any either. I haven't really been focusing on TV this week, kind of, believe it or not.
My current event right now for Philly is that we gotta get out and vote for Krasner and make sure he gets back in.
Okay.
Krasner.
Well, not him. I mean, he might be their cousin.
Is he with Krasner? I'm a dig you.
That's the $1 million question. Are they related?
And I'm mad that I know all the lawyer jingles and phone numbers.
Thank your cousin COVID for that one.
Yes. I should not have that information.
Mm-mm-mm.
What you sipping on, April?
Girls, some Baja Blast,
Oh, what's that?
Mountain Dew.
Right?
Mountain Dew. We had to stop
Baja.
at Taco Bell on the way home.
Hey, we don't shout out names. We ain't shouting out
They're
Taco
not
Bell.
playing for sponsors.
They ain't paying for sponsorship.
Oh, all right. Sorry. I forgot.
Does anybody in the comments
Hey,
got a current
Ronnie.
event they want us to talk about?
I didn't see any.
You see,
Hey guys,
Definitely,
anybody got any current events you want to bring up?
definitely a quiet week, like that I
Yeah.
can think of. I guess after the last couple of weeks, it's just back to normal. Just us getting killed every other day.
right.
But that's normal.
Mm-hmm.
Get over that trauma.
Oh, the only current event in terms of education this week in Philly is the school districts are opening up more than 100 schools for
Mm.
not just younger kids, but K through 12. But they said something about maybe they're going to try to promise this for next summer, but we need it for the kids.
Mm.
Outside the schools, the rec centers, just all over the city. So they have billions of dollars, but they're trying to figure out, do they tear down school buildings that are like 100 something years old, or do they keep the ones and try to put air conditioners? But parents are like, I want my kids to go to neighborhood school, even though it has asbestos. So yeah, that was on the education tip.
Mm. Okay.
That they painted over the asbestos.
Yeah, but it's shining through just like the
Mm.
mold.
That's
Mm.
crazy. That's crazy. That's all about money too, right there.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
So Nat, you want to hear about my trip?
Yes.
So I work in the Caribbean in the month of April and sometimes in the month of August. And so when I'm there in the month of April, I'm there for Black clinicians and sexologists. And we talk about sex and pleasure versus
Let's talk about
performance.
sex, baby. Let's talk about you and me. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
And I open the conference every year. So that's why it's work. And the conference is usually Monday and Tuesday. We arrive on Sunday, and the rest of the time, if it wasn't our cousin COVID, we would have been enjoying Carnival. However, because of social distancing, there's no way you could do Carnival socially distanced. Like that is a party that starts at 3:30 in the morning and goes all the way until noonish. And there's alcohol and bars open, serving up drinks. There's people pouring, like it's just a party. So we didn't have that part, but we definitely got it in and saw some of the other beaches other than the one that we were living on, and had a great time. So I'm sure I got some new juicy topics coming up that's gonna come from the conference if you guys are willing. But yeah, it's
Okay.
about healthy intimacy, sexology, mind body tapping, to get sensory stuff, like all types of stuff.
Mm. Okay. Okay.
That touchy feely stuff.
That touchy feely stuff.
Uh, most times with sex, you gotta be touchy feely. I mean, it's sex.
It was supposed to be a play on words, smart behind.
It was a play on words as well as
Well,
it's
I
some
want you.
other things.
Well,
It's other things that keep us disconnected in that whole sexual thing that we talked about as well. So
Right.
gotcha,
mhm,
gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so, looking at
Play
your
on, play on.
vulva and your vagina and knowing all of the parts before you allow cars to go inside of them.
Amen.
Um,
That's right. If you can't name all your parts, don't
How
let
you
nobody in
gonna go
there.
technical, Mary, and then introduce a car?
I know. I realized
Name.
y'all might not have been ready. I'm sorry. That's how I went to the car after I went
Let's
technical.
play. Name your garage.
I mean, I love cars. I love classic
And
cars.
it's a thing for handwriting too. I can't wait till we talk about that. I gotta run that by Doc first though.
Okay.
Okay.
So Net,
Handwriting.
there you go. She said, "Yes, I
Handwriting.
can't wait."
Yes,
Handwriting.
ma'am.
Like
Hmm.
something you can tell by handwriting. Is that what you mean? Or
Daryl, you're gonna have to wait your turn, hun.
No,
Right.
see, listen, here you go.
We so
You can't
anxious.
introduce stuff and not talk about. All right, let's talk about gold. We ain't gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about something else. You introduced it. Now I'm just asking what you're talking about.
You just gotta drop little seeds or whatever. And we got what we do when we get in the green room and start putting stuff together. So thank you, Net,
Gotcha.
for asking. And
Thank you, Net.
yes, we're gonna have to make sure Daryl is patient enough and sensitive enough.
Amen.
Listen, here we go. On me again. I'm fine. I know the parts of my penis. I can name it.
You're
Penis.
not all fine because you came up in my mind as people was talking about stuff. So you are part of the dialogue.
Oh, thank you. See, I like being a part. Without
Anyway,
on
we're
top.
gonna talk about this other topic that you done brought up, talking about position and how you jump. And what's your favorite position in relationships? Is it roles? Is it play? Or is it the position?
So
Okay,
this was
let's go.
Daryl's topic.
Daryl
I
picked this
told,
out.
but I didn't remember. I kind of got off, and so I didn't remember. Oh, you like that, April? I got
Oh
off.
my gosh. Go ahead, Daryl.
So
I'm not
no, and
feeding it to you.
Daryl, you said your favorite position was sitting across the table.
yes, absolutely, absolutely. So when we talk about different positioning, my positioning is like sitting across the table and having that conversation. Talking, getting to know that person.
Okay.
That's my favorite position.
Boring.
Well, because we know your favorite position.
You
What are
do?
you talking about?
I know you do.
Whoever said boring. That
That
means
was
their
I
favorite
would
position.
love to. I would love to hear what you know.
Well, I know
No.
the quiet ones you got to worry about. That I do know that.
Oh, here we go.
Ones
Y'all,
that
we
are
was in
quiet.
a conversation together and talking about all of this positioning, how you jump. You make it seem like you wasn't a part of that conversation.
Well, remember I got off early because I had to go, so I do remember some of it, and I do and remember. Well, when I was talking about my position, I was heckled and called boring. I was heckled and
So
bullied
April,
by
he's
by
talking
the
about
quiet
you,
one.
April.
Yes. So, so I don't understand how I wasn't boring when we talked about it pre. Now I'm boring. I tell you, some people
I
have
don't
funny.
even recall the conversation actually, so you need to refresh my memory.
You know what?
Oh
What was in
wow.
that cup? What was in that cup last week? What was in that cup last week?
Not
So,
much.
So Daryl, go ahead and set it off.
no, like I said, for me, my favorite positioning is at dinner, talking, meeting that person, uh, learning about them. Because mentally stimulation is definitely what I like the most, right? That definitely gets me in the mood to do whatever.
Okay.
In the mood just from sitting across the table.
Absolutely. Again, I'm into minds. I'm in the way that people think, right? So if you're definitely,
Mm.
well-rounded, well-versed in different things, can hold a conversation, that to me is very, very sexy, and it's definitely a turn on. Like, ooh, you know what I mean? I don't want no dumb joint like, duh. Like, I can't really get into that.
I just want to give a shout out to
That's
Dr.
not really to me.
Cotilio if he's
So
still here.
it has to be more. Shout out, Doc.
Doc, you know him, right? St. Joe's. He used to be at St. Joe's. Now he's at Arcadia, behavior analysis person. Okay. Right. Anywho. So, like, we quiet this week? What's going on?
When you guys talked about the topic, how you jump, what was the context?
So it's like one relationship to the next. Do you take enough time in between? What does the time look like? How do you determine that time?
What's important to you in that time while you're building?
Come on, April, help me out. I had
April said,
a whole bunch of
because
meat shenanigans in
I
between that
missed
conversation.
I
I
missed the
know.
discussion, but when I read it, I was thinking like the roles people play in relationships. That's what I
That's
was
why I
thinking
got
about.
roles and play and
Roles
position in
play
there. Yeah.
position. Yeah. Yes, that's what I was
like
thinking about.
April, did you take any notes?
No, I never take notes.
Yes,
I
you
keep it all
do.
in my head.
See, this is the problem.
This is the
Well, I had an
problem.
interesting conversation today about, I guess it could be part of the discussion about roles and relationships.
Okay.
This discussion was about toxic masculinity
Mm.
Okay.
Okay.
and this idea of being a man and what that role looks like and how sometimes it could become toxic because
Mm.
of the wrong values or the wrong ideas about what a man should be or what a man is in a relationship. And
Which
some, go
yeah,
ahead.
I can definitely see that. No, I can definitely see that. Because I think sometimes people think that control is what you should be as a man. You're supposed to control everything. You're in
Mhm.
control, and it's not
Mhm.
that at all. Like that is definitely not. I was having this conversation earlier. You want to get the best out of whatever you're doing. So your relationship, you want to get the best out. You don't want to control it. You don't want to. Some men think that if they tell them what to do, where to be, how to dress, all that, they think that's what a man is, and it's definitely not that, right?
Mhm.
But
So
it's like, where do
I
we
get
get that? But where do we get the idea that control is a part of the role of what people should be doing anyway? Like, where does that come from?
When you hear the word submissive in certain
when we
contexts, I don't
You
know.
said
That's
the
what I
word
thought about.
Mrs.
No, sometimes like when couples or when individuals period hear the word submissiveness,
Oh.
head the head of household,
Mhm.
yes,
I'm in control. Like that,
Mhm.
even whether if you have that background or not, or if you grew up that way or not, I think sometimes it's ingrained in people, men or women, individually.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
it can come across as such. Like a man can be saying this to you, but I'm like, are
Mhm.
you asking me or telling me? Because if you're telling me, that's totally different than asking.
Mhm. Mhm.
So that
Facts.
control, it can come off as control or be seen as control. I don't know.
Mhm.
Well, I had somebody would call me and said that I was trying to find the message that they were at a bridal, like a virtual bridal Zoom for whatever reason, and everything was surrounded around the husband, that this was the wife to be on the call and saying how it was such an honor to submit to her husband and an honor to just be offered the opportunity to be his wife. But it was
Mm.
like she was so consumed with everything for him that it was
so
nothing that was serving her.
what's the problem? I'm confused at what was
You,
the problem.
you would be the problem. That you would.
No, not at all. Because again, if she's okay with being into him that way, then that's what she wants. There, if you want to if other people want to put their spin on things like, oh, no, if she's happy doing what she wants to do and she's comfortable in her relationship that way, like, and she feels like she wants to, again, whatever, be there for a man that way, then that's fine. We got to stop trying to steer people and tell them what they should do or how they should do their thing, right? Because everybody's thing is their thing. So if she's cool with it and it's not like he's forcing her to do anything and like that, then I don't see a problem with that. If she has a
So let
choice and
me
that's
give you
the
the
way
flip side. Can I share the flip side?
you can definitely do acrobatics.
The flip side is, who was she before she said yes?
Okay.
And how long is she going to be happy in this role that she is elevating, and allowing his voice to be the controlling voice or the directing voice or the operating voice that makes all of the decisions? And so is she, the question is not so much questioning her wanting to honor her husband, but what is it that she likes to do independently for herself? Because if he does anything left, that she doesn't agree with over time, then she's going to be resentful that she lost herself in the process because she did everything to serve him.
Mhm.
So, I mean, we always have the coulda, shoulda, wouldas, but let's say what happens if it doesn't, and she's fine, and she lives out her life, and she's great. So there's always two
And
sides
who
to
do you
every
know that
coin.
lives that?
Well, again, I know that people in that are in great relationships that have roles and they stick to their roles, then it may work that way. I don't know. Again, it may not be for you, me, or someone else, but it might work for her. Maybe she found somebody, and this is what she wants to do.
So,
We're
so
putting our values on it.
my question uh, is there a position or a situation where it's just not healthy, even if it's what you want to do and what you decide to do? Are there times when what you're doing is just not healthy?
I don't know. I know that right now that we're, with the stats of a divorce being so high, I think because people are getting away from, standing by each other, doing the things that we say we want. It's just not happening. So I don't know if it's unhealthy, but I mean, a relationship, if a woman is supporting her man and doing whatever, I don't. Again, I'm not necessarily going to see that it's wrong if that's what she wants to do. Nor am I
Okay.
going to have a bad faith example of what if down the road X, Y, and Z happens, because we can also say, what if it doesn't happen? You know what I mean? If
Mm-hmm.
she's into him and that's what she wants to do, more power to her. As long as it's something she's doing of her, this is what she wants to do. That she's not being forced or anything like that. If I heard something like that, then it would be a different conversation. If like, oh, he's making her and he's not allowing her, and he's making, that would be different. But if this is what
Okay.
she's doing and she's like, this is my role, I'm accepting this role, I'm here for my husband, I want to build him up, whatever she want to do, I'm cool with that, as long as they're cool with it. I just don't.
So you're saying that if it was a violent relationship, you would think differently.
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely.
Okay.
But
And I didn't hear
that
that.
could also be the breeding ground for a violent relationship.
So
Well, I don't know. Well, how
okay.
could it be if she's already doing what you want? What are you getting violent about?
I,
That's where
because
gaslighting comes in.
we know that the violence has nothing to do with her doing everything he's already telling her to do.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
We
no.
know
Well,
that.
well, well. What I'm
Well,
saying is that if he was, she said it
go
was a
ahead.
breeding ground
Camp, we
because
coming to you next when Daryl shut up.
I was going by, I was going by, I was just going to give the other opposite. And if I was going by the breeding ground, if the breeding ground was her
Okay.
being submissive, and if that led to it, I don't understand how that would lead to it. If he was, if it's going to come out, it's going to come out. But we have to stop going with these bad faith efforts, going to these far extremes all the time with these things. I think that if people are living and they're, like I said, if she's doing it voluntarily, she's fine with this, I don't see a problem. And I wouldn't even question it. I think it's almost weird to question it, someone being happy about to get married, but it's not what you want it to be or how you think it should look. And like I said, if there were signs of violence or something, that would be different. But if there's no signs of that, I think we need to stop interjecting our feelings on other people.
So
So
Daryl, go ahead, Camp.
So I would like to say that some people, whether they want to do something or not, if they feel like they have a calling on their life or purpose, they're gonna stick to it, whether it's good for them or not. So sometimes whether a person think it's unhealthy or not, it can be, and sometimes it is healthy. But what I would like to say is sometimes something can be unhealthy, and we may not notice that it's unhealthy for our own self. Like until we sit down, space, have that reflection, and really look at it. A lot of times we don't want to look at our relationships with friends, family, coworkers, or the relationship we have with ourselves. So I think when you're talking about unhealthy and healthy, everybody else sometimes can see it and you may not be able to, but at the end of the day, does it really matter? It matters. But at the same time, when you talk about violence, the signs of violence don't even have to be there. It don't have to be, oh, I'm putting my hands on you. It can be emotional or it can be verbal. It can be coming in all different facets. Or it can be controlling the finances, but you don't see it out in the open or you don't have a voice in the house. But I also want to say, just because a person is quiet doesn't mean they're not in control. Because sometimes we get that mixed up. If this person is like, oh, both of them loud, they're not happy, or they don't know what's going on, or they're not in control. So it could be either way. But I would say that sometimes in marriages or in relationships, this could be her purpose and goal in life, to be married and support her husband, raise him up, and really be a helpmate or helpmeet, however you want to call it or say it. But then 20 years down the line, she may wake up and be like, what have I done for myself? I've been supporting him, but has he supported me? Has he helped out in the kitchen? Has he helped me maintain this household? And I've been picking up doing this. So what
Are we
kind
about
of?
to have the movie Acrimony live all over again?
But I will say, but for some people it works, and that's okay if it works. If that's what they want in life, and if they are fine with that, who are we to judge or say different or switch their minds? But I will say, a lot of times with women, that happens 15, 20 years later, and you done gave your good years and you ain't did shit for yourself. That's all I'm saying. And then that's when deep-seated resentment it will come in. It's not if, it will. And it can happen to a man as well. I've seen it. Either way, both sides. But what y'all want as a couple may not what you want individually.
Right. And
So it just
sometimes
depends.
couples, like I have a couple who has been married for 4 years, and when they got married, their spiritual compass was the same.
Okay.
And what I mean by that, like, they believed in the same spiritual practices, rituals, and all of that. And then when he hit 40, he didn't believe in all of, and I'm going to refer to it as a social construct. He didn't agree with the spiritual social construct anymore, along with a couple other constructs that he doesn't agree with. But he never had that conversation with his wife. And so he's living in this new, I'm going to call it spiritual awareness, without having a conversation with his partner. So that's what I mean when you end up losing yourself or you end up having something new. You have to gradually guide your partner to have some kind of consent that you guys remain on the same page with what, or if you're agreeing to be in two different ways of how it is that you interact spiritually, that's another thing. But just having that space. People can't talk about that stuff openly.
Yeah, that's a hard one. I don't know how. I do know how I think about that.
Well, then share it.
Because if I've evolved as a person, I'm not going to ask you. I'm grown. I'm not going to ask you if I can change what I believe or my faith. I understand now. We got kids, and this is the way we decide to bring them up. Yes, we have to have a conversation, and I would agree to go along because this is how they've always been raised. However, at the same time, I don't have to put my beliefs on you or vice versa. We're still going to be together, still going to be married. But at the end of the day, if what I'm evolving and becoming more aware about is better for me individually, I'm going to do just that.
But would it be communication about it? Not necessarily asking permission, because I'm never going to say ask permission.
Yeah,
but
I guess when you said consent, that kind of threw me off a little bit. But yeah, communication, that would have to be had. Yes. But if you don't agree with it, oh well.
Okay, Doc, I see you.
Well, your question is the same thing. You should let them know. There should be conversation. Yeah.
There should always be ongoing conversation because
not just one conversation.
Right. You're constantly growing individually and as collaboratively also or collectively. So you should be always reevaluating your goals with each other. Yeah. But I think Camp, you said it well said regarding the role. I also agree with Daryl. You know, the role is what that person wants to play, whatever role that they agree to. And we have to remember that some people, I don't know if this is the case with this couple, but depending on her.
And we can separate from the actual couple. I just wanted to bring that scenario.
Well,
into
in that
the
particular
conversation.
scenario, that could be a couple that's guided and led by, the Bible. And in the
Right. That's what I'm
Bible,
They
thinking.
were,
They were. Okay.
okay. All right.
and
So,
he had separated from that construct.
okay. So her role and the role that she agreed to, it made sense for that particular couple. So, that it just makes sense. And like Camp said, at some point, in that marriage, she may realize that, hey, this is not what I really thought I wanted. I want to change some things, but that ongoing conversation is needed so that they can reevaluate and see if they can make changes. Doesn't sound like it, but who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah, because it's good not to leave anybody in the dark too. I think that's it's a respect
Yeah.
issue.
Right.
Like respect, honesty, integrity. You don't want to leave your partner or whoever you have any kind of relationship with in the dark about things that are evolving and ongoing. Because they'll be like, what? You don't want them to be what's the word I'm looking for? Bamboozled. Stop.
That's funny because when I was getting married, and I reflect back on that moment, my ex, he made that statement, where the vows, we had traditional vows that were stated. We didn't make our own vows. So the traditional vows was like, love, support, and obey, and of course I was like, obey, but those were the vows that were chosen for that moment. And so, he made his comment. It's like, yeah, jokingly, but there was still some truth behind it. Like everything will be fine as long as they stay the way they are. That should have been my
That's a
red
legal
flag then.
contract.
I'm sorry.
That's a legal contract. You signed a legal
It is
contract.
a
You're
legal
supposed to
contract.
obey.
It is.
Yeah, you're
I
supposed to
like
obey.
that.
You signed. So I mean, hello.
Works both ways.
That's why I had to breach it. That's why I had to breach it.
Typical. Typical. Women are usually the ones who leave relationships. This is terrible.
Uh,
That
You
is
signed
not
a contract.
that it's always
Okay.
women.
Men just walk out the door. Don't say nothing. Don't
Yeah,
come
they
No,
back.
no,
don't
no.
say
I'm
shit. They
saying.
just
Let's
go
go.
put their
Let's
feet up
go.
somewhere else and call it a day.
Sorry for me for bringing statistics. Statistically, 80% of the marriages, of 50% that women are the ones that are filing for divorce. I'm just saying.
Because the
Because he
man
wants to put
won't
up
do
with
it because
sex.
he's
Hey,
comfortable in his
man,
shenanigans.
I don't know about because shoulda could. I'm just telling you what it is.
and there might be there's
That's
a
after she
just
done
reason
found
for
out
that.
about the
That's what I was
10th
about to
Yeah,
say.
it's
April.
always just reason for the high number of women for signing up for divorce.
Because we've
Gotcha.
had enough.
Exactly.
You had
We
enough.
done.
Action
We
and men don't.
done.
Right.
We done. We done.
Listen,
And
all
you
I
don't
know
just
is
become done on your own. Like you
You
become
don't.
done after a series of behaviors that manifest,
Years
Yeah.
and
after
you
years.
decide that okay, I want
oh,
to love myself.
it's the man's fault again. Gotcha.
I didn't say it was
Well,
the man's fault.
you just
Well,
blame
I
the
didn't.
women.
I,
You
no,
blame the men on your own.
I didn't blame. I didn't blame anyone. I told you
Yeah,
stats.
you
Come on now.
inferred. You inferred,
Statistics.
Daryl.
Okay, it's not. It's
You
not. That's not an
inferred.
inference at all. The stats show that women are the number one that
Okay.
sign for divorce. I'm just telling you
Okay.
what I'm just telling you the stats. I didn't say anything. Don't blame me for what women are doing. It's the
And they
stats.
signed
It
because
ain't a blame. It's just that we'll follow through with the application. Nat, can you help us get him? Because you know he always tripping.
I always bring facts. I know. Damn him for bringing these facts.
yeah, we will follow through with the application because a man want his
We'll
cake and eat
follow
it too.
through.
He be like, I don't want to be with you, but I want to live in the same house with you, but still
With
be with
all the
somebody else.
benefits of being in the
That's
Yes,
what they
house.
say.
still
That's
and
what they
still
say.
want you to pay bills, but y'all not
That's what
together.
they.
Right.
That's what they say. Well, you living in the house, you're supposed to live for free. I'm confused.
Oh,
I'm
Ooh.
confused.
Ooh.
I'm confused.
Okay,
I don't
wait
know.
a minute.
I mean, we can't have it both ways, right? So is somebody supposed to live for free? I didn't know that was a thing.
Live for free?
I just didn't know.
They ain't
Yes,
say nothing about no
Kim said that the
free99.com.
man wants you to leave, but wants you to pay bills in the house or something like that. But I would
no,
think if you're both in the house.
I was saying y'all cannot be together. Y'all can be separating or divorced, whatever. And you'll file the paperwork, but he still want to live in the same house, but maybe talking to such and such. But then he like, oh, I want to work on it, but you still talking to such and such, but you still want me to like pay bills and do stuff like we together. That don't work like
That's what
that.
happens every
Right.
time.
That's what I was
That's what
saying.
happens every
Not
Mm-mm.
live
time.
for free.com. That's not what I was saying.
That sound like a Tyler Perry movie.
No,
The
that's
majority of the
realistic.
time.
That
That's
is
I really don't know
realistic.
if that happens. Wait a minute. I
Daryl,
don't
you
know.
see the
Again,
comment on
that
the
could be.
screen right now?
I cannot.
It says there are so many things that occur before filing for divorce.
sure do.
I
Yes.
agree. I agree. And if the woman would try to fix it instead of just filing for divorce, maybe wouldn't
Oh,
you and be
were you
fine
just
Why
with it?
we gotta
blaming
be
women again?
responsible for fixing it? Why
Were you
Wait a
blaming us?
minute.
Were you
You
blaming the
blaming
women
us?
that time?
You blaming
I'm
us?
saying
We blaming
if
us.
you if you can pick up the pen to sign the papers, you can pick up the pen to go to therapy.
How do you know therapy wasn't attempted before she picked up that pen?
Exactly.
Hey,
But let me tell
marriage
you,
is until death do you part. You signed the contract.
Oh,
but you
hell
know,
no.
women will pick up another job.
Listen,
They'll take care of the kids. They
right,
will be
independent.
at
Go
your
ahead with your independent self. Go
at
ahead.
your feet. They
Go ahead with
will
your independent
like
self.
whatever
Go
his
ahead, you bet.
conditions. Women will
Bad
do.
John. Bad independent. Okay.
Nat,
I'm
you are
saying
so
I ain't
right.
talking
You
about
no.
so
independent.
busy
I'm just saying what
talking.
women would do because men, this is what I need you. You not at home enough. I need you. She do that. It's still an issue.
That's what men say. They say that. Okay. I just don't know that being said that she's not home enough. I just didn't know that.
I'm
But if
just
she's not home
saying.
enough, where's she at? Where's she
You
at?
said it too independent.
But you said she's not home enough. Where's she at?
She said, "Oh
She
my God, mute
at
him."
work.
We tried, man. We tried.
I know. You're right. You don't want to hear the truth. It's okay. I get it.
It's not always the truth coming out your
I get
mouth,
it.
Daryl.
I get it. I
It's
get
tripping
it.
in the dark. Yes, he is, Ruth.
I get
Are
it.
y'all saying
I
what's
get
coming
it.
out his mouth is propaganda? Is that what y'all saying?
You're right. Stats is propaganda now. Hey guys.
I'm just
No,
asking. I'm asking the
Propaganda.
question.
Show us
That's all.
share your screen and show us these stats. Then
Hey,
yeah,
maybe it will decrease
any of you
what
guys,
we
hey,
saying.
any of you guys can do a quick Google and find this information out like I did. It's really
Daryl.
simple.
Daryl,
Go ahead.
what does your stat say?
Women
Your
file
stat, what you quoted earlier was that 80% of the women file for divorce, right?
out of 50, yeah, something like that. The leading number of divorces are signed by women.
Okay,
Show me
all right.
something different. Thank you. Thank you for letting me be right.
No. We're not disputing that, or at least I'm
Okay.
not disputing that.
Oh, I'm not
What-
disputing
Thank you.
either. That's fine.
okay,
Thank
what
you,
I'm
April. April, you know we're kindred spirits.
Oh my God.
oh
Here we go.
no.
Kindred spirit. Kindred
Listen,
spirits when it's
I'm
feasible.
not disputing that fact because I can't look it up. I'm not going to Google it. But what
Why not?
we are saying is that the
Gotcha.
reason why we are signing that pen, why we are initiating the divorces, is because of y'all. Usually, and we've for
Oh,
the
you're right.
most part have made several attempts to try and salvage that marriage.
Listen, I keep telling you, I don't know if
You
that's
say
true.
otherwise,
No, what I say is that a relationship falls apart, like you said, for many different reasons. It could be man, woman, whoever, right?
right?
But again, at a certain point, and I mean, and I'm not talking about the extremes. So let's not go to extremes. Your anecdotal information that your friend happened to. But I think the most part, people get tired of, tired of trying to make it work. Um, so instead of maybe going to get that divorce, continue to try something different. Again, I'm not talking about the extremes of, he cheating or something like that. But I'm just talking about maybe you were together for a long time. Maybe you guys aren't talking as much as you should. You're not communicating. Or you guys are growing and not, like you said, you're growing and you're not communicating to each other your growth. So you're at different points now. I think
Or
those
I
things can be
mean,
fixed.
or you've both grown and you've grown apart. That's okay.
Yeah, so you just bored.
That's okay if you've grown apart and the
I
relationship
don't
is
know.
done.
I don't
Sometimes
know.
the
I think because
relationship is just done.
Thank
I
you.
again,
think that that's okay.
well, it's weird because we're done these days, right? Because if we take it, 40 years, 50 years ago, where relationships, people stayed through these
They
things,
lived
and
in misery a lot of times,
well,
though.
so again,
Tell it,
I
I
Doc.
think
can
Tell
feel
it.
that one.
so. Again, here we go with that anecdotal. I
It's
think that
not
people,
anecdotal.
I think it
You
is. I think
know,
a lot of people,
longevity does not always equal
no,
happy and healthy.
this is true.
Amen.
This is true. But what I see is a lot of older people who came through it and been through a lot. But they're as they get older, they're they're happier now, right? They've been through a whole bunch of stuff. They were happy. My
Thank you,
grandparents,
Ruth.
they're a lot happier, right? These days, people are so quick to get rid of something, to go to something else, that we're throwing away relationships for little to nothing. And
But
that's the
sometimes
truth.
people don't be trying to go to something else. They just be trying
Thank
to save
you.
themselves. Amen.
Yes. Yes.
No, something
Ding
else,
ding
something else,
ding ding ding.
something else doesn't have to be something else. It could be just them, just their selfishness, not wanting to give or be a part of something, could let them,
Wow.
lead them to not want to be in a relationship. You see a lot of these relationships, they're microwave. They start fast, end fast, or they're breaking up for little
So
to
that's
no
not putting his
reason.
own stuff into it.
Whose own stuff?
Yours.
So the relationships are
Or
relationships are
sometimes it was just
wait
a
a minute,
one night
relationships today.
stand and the chick get knocked up, so they forced to be together because they got a co-parent. It
So
ain't
again,
always
that's that outlier. That's not a majority. We're not
That's not
talking
an
about.
outlier.
Oh,
that's real
that
life.
happens a
It
lot.
happens
Wait,
all
wait,
the
wait.
time. It
So
happens
that happens.
all the
So
time.
so the majority of people are out here getting pregnant on one nighters and staying together.
Nay, say
That's what
nothing
you're saying.
about no one
I
nighter.
ain't,
Right. Where did
Camp
that
just
come from?
said. Camp just
She
said
I
didn't.
did
sometimes.
say I did mention
Camp just said
I
it.
did say like
Thank
a
you.
one night.
I don't know if you guys are not paying attention. She just said that. That's what I'm
Well,
responding
we
to.
probably couldn't hear because you were over talking.
And you yelling.
Wait a minute. Well, how did I hear her when she was talking? I heard her.
You hear what you want to hear.
I hear everything. I hear everything. I hear everything.
You hear what you want to hear.
I tell you, boy, oh boy.
Right.
I just feel like
So
relationships are hard work. So you're not really putting the hard
It
work.
is.
Don't get into one.
ab-
You can be married or
absolutely,
not. It's just hard work.
absolutely, Camp. And I think that people don't want to put in the work these days.
Right. People
That's
gloss
what
it
I
over
feel.
talking about, oh, we've been together five years. But
Right.
you've been
Ruth
struggling
said
for
you gotta
4.
yell when you don't have your big mic and you in the dark.
That is true.
Okay, now
Well, as they say, marriage is not for the faint heart. So
It's not.
No.
It's not.
that's why one out of 4 black what is it? Black women are getting married.
So Net said back then there were only 5 reasons someone could get approved to get a divorce. Keyword is approved.
Okay.
Right.
So although back then married couples stayed together, it was harder to get a divorce.
It was. Yep.
Okay.
So then therefore they
so it's
stuck
not
in
like
their
they stuck. They stuck.
Tell Nell to cite her resources.
Net.
Oh, Net. Listen, I can't keep up with all these ends and tell Net to cite her resources. To let me know where she got this information
That's because
from.
the name Neil is not for you. That's just between Doc and Ruth.
Right.
Oh no,
You're
no,
supposed
no.
to call Ruth Ruth. You're not supposed to call her Neil.
Roof.
No.
You be trying to jump into their 25, 35 year relationship.
I'm in it. Once I see it, listen, Coco Licious is Coco Licious gonna be Coco Licious. We're gonna call her now. Okay.
You're welcome, Ruth.
Oh my gosh.
well, Ruth
I
has
mean,
the
it
statistics
is a
that has
big difference between staying in something because you feel like you have to,
Right.
and staying in it because that's where you want to be.
Right.
So
That's a difference. And that's a position that do you decide to stay in that, or are you because the people gonna talk about you if you do that, or you got all these kids, or you have no kids, you at this age, like there's so many other things that come into mind that make you freeze as opposed to jumping to doing something that's going to be for your health and wellness, mind, body, and spirit.
But don't we think sometimes that you can really, things may be bad, but you can work at it and then maybe it come back to life again. You instead of jumping off of something that is bad at the time.
It depends on how far you let it go before you're willing to reel it in and put a Band-Aid on it
and
put
both
some resources in
are
it.
willing to work to repair whatever it is. You're assuming.
No, well, I'm saying I think that sometimes we may be on different paths, right? So say I'm off, right? I'm off, and I've been off, for some months now. But her continuing to try. You're right. I'm off. You're right. You're right. So you, but your wife is there to help you, try to help you get back, right? And that's the
Mm-hmm.
point of having someone there for you to try to help
And
you. If you give up
I
on that
agree with
person,
you, Daryl, but I think it also
Sure,
depends
one.
on the
One, right?
wife's deal breakers. It depends on what their off is, because if your off means that you've been disrespecting me and sleeping with my friends and people all over town know, and
well,
so it depends on
that's
what
your
your
friend's
off
fault.
is. It depends what your off is.
No,
And
again, and
it depends on your what your off is and what my deal breakers are.
True.
yeah, no, and again, and
And
when I
tolerance
speak,
and
I don't,
patience and growth.
That's a
yeah,
lot.
and I'm
Asking
not
for a
speaking
lot.
about any of those things. I think those things are definitely are issue. I mean, like in a relationship where there's not the cheating or abuse. I'm saying a relationship, like you said, where you just, for whatever reason, you're not talking anymore, and you're not communicating like you should. Like, I think you should kind of try to fight for that as long as you can. Giving up on something, you may give up a little too early sometimes, and I think that's what happens in a lot of cases. Now, again, we're not talking about
Early.
abuse or the cheating and stuff like that. I get it. I'm not trying to tell anybody to stay involved in anything like that. I'm just talking about, not the Lifetime movie type stories. I'm talking about the regular life stories. Goodness gracious. Like, yeah, he was in there with my sister and he was having sex with my sister and the priest. Like, I'm not talking about those
Not
type.
the
I'm talking about,
Maury stories. Not the
yeah,
Maury
no,
stories.
not those, not those. What I mean? I think sometimes we go to the far extremes to have these conversations, and
Wow.
I'd rather stay in the ones, not the ones like Lifetime movies, not the ones that are on the fringe. I want to deal with like what kind of most people I think would deal with.
So I
Like,
believe that the two administrators and host of this conversation don't believe in having fake conversations, which is why we have this space. So why would you refer to us as Lifetime?
because I think a lot of times we go to the stories that are extremes. We go to
I'm sorry.
extremes.
That was funny.
We
But,
go we go way to the extremes, and we can talk about extremes, but they're more anecdotal in what we're talking about. If we're talking about like what everyday people are dealing with, that's like say me at my job. People,
but
oh my
Dr.
god, I
Matt,
got
you
like
talk about what everyday people is
Well,
calling
I
us
think
and
again,
he's
coming
talking
into
about
our
everyday
room.
people that's in the runt. They do the same thing every day. The
like
same
I'm
type
not
of
talking about
relationship.
every relationship isn't breaking up because somebody's having sex with somebody else or somebody's
Oh,
there.
we get that.
That's not what everybody deals with. That does happen. Like I
True.
said, at my job, they'll be like, "Oh, you probably do this, take kids away," and all. That usually never happens, right? That's far extremes. Normally, that's not what I deal with. So I'm talking about when a lot of times when we talk about things, it's like we deal with the far extremes of things. Like I said, somebody cheating on somebody or beating on somebody, and that does happen. But I don't think it happens as much as we promote it as
Oh, it
people
happens
it
more than
happens.
we know.
It happens more
So
than we
I'm
know.
not trying to be
I
funny, but
got
Okay,
it
Dr.
happens more than we
Tyrone.
know.
Okay.
I got
Dr.
Okay.
Tyrone.
Okay.
good.
Cool.
Are we a Lifetime movie connection? I
And
just want to know.
I don't
let me
think
just say,
so.
Lifetime movies are based on real stories.
Real
They
life.
are.
Absolutely. And again,
Okay.
they're the far extremes of things that happen. The
Oh
Lifetime is not.
God.
Okay, you're right. So
I
Lifetime
need
is
a
talking about
drink.
Lifetime is
I
talking
do
about
too,
regular.
Mary.
Lifetime is talking about every regular everyday life. Okay,
Oh
you're right.
God.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Ruth, I love
Okay.
Lifetime movies too, but the way he put it, the way he framed it, I'm like, okay, we have real talk conversations. So I thought
But
that's how we've been
but but
doing this since
but I
August, July, whatever.
I don't think I said you. I think I said that. I think we should deal with instead of making always the
But we is we
far
on the screen, right?
we as everybody. I'm talking about everyone. Like,
We
let's talk
everybody.
about if,
We everybody.
like
But
everybody. I want to, and if we're always going to talk about the, like I said, if we're going to talk about the extreme, so if every relationship is because someone got beat or they got cheated on or the man is out here doing this, that, or next. If that's what happens on the regular base, okay, cool, we can do that. But I don't
So
think that's the majority of relationships, right? I think
It
that does
don't.
happen.
It doesn't have
What,
to be the
what,
majority, but it's a lot. So I'm not trying to be funny, but
Okay.
just seriously for a little bit. But when we talking about the abuse, I ain't talking about personally, but just when it hits home, like the lifetime movies about people getting killed outside the in front of their home. I had three aunts got got killed while everybody was in the house by a husband who was cool for 20 years. I'm just saying. Like, so it may seem extreme, but all that stuff that they talk about, it hits home. And you just never know. That's all
So
I'm saying.
you're right. It does hit home for you. I don't know. No, none of
No,
my
no,
aunts
no, no,
got
no,
killed,
no.
so it
I'm
doesn't
just
hit home.
saying it
You know what I'm
I'm
saying?
just saying
So
like the
it's
extremes, it doesn't happen in every relationship, but it happens a lot. That's all.
absolutely. So it becomes more anecdotal, right? So I get it. I hear it. I understand it happen. We know these things happen. We know these things happen, right? And we may even know somebody it happened to. But I think if we're always talking about
I got
those, it
you.
seems like that's what relationships are. And
Like the run of the
I
mill,
can
and
be,
it's not.
yeah, right. So that's why I don't try to focus on those as much, if because it kind of could scare someone away if that's every time you talk about relationships. Well, they were cheating, they were doing this, and I don't think that's every relationship. I don't think that's the majority of relationships either. I just don't think that way, but I could be wrong.
Okay. So you're talking about like a run of the mill relationship. They go to work, they eat dinner, have the same thing every night of the week. They're trying to work it out. Doesn't know they don't know what's wrong, but they've been together forever,
Yeah,
and
or
they're just trying to bring back the spark.
yes. How do we help them?
Okay.
Or they may not be working it out. Maybe the one person is not working it out, and they don't know how to work it out.
I always think about what drew you to that person in the first place
To go back to the
when you met
beginning and
them or when you fell in
rewrite
love
it.
with them or yeah, like well, just to think about it and maybe bring that may spark something. That's what people like to do when they want to re-spark their romance and all that other stuff. Oh, they go back to have dinner on their first date or their first kiss. I mean, people do that a lot. Or they get married where they met. I'm just, stuff like that.
They do. They do. They do.
But then again, they have to want to have that back. If that's not what they want, then it's not going to work.
And it
It's
also
on,
depends on like if the position that they play in has beaten them down so far. What are they really connecting to at that moment?
I was going to say sometimes there's so much damage that's done,
Right.
you can't look past the damage from the all the way to the beginning because there's
right.
that barrier. Excuse me.
Yeah.
They're just even the barriers of communication because how you communicated when you first met is can be totally different.
Right.
A year, even 5 years down the line, maybe just be a different person.
Right.
But again, where they excuse me, where they are at that point, it's time to again reassess your role.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But then it when you reassess roles and one person wants you to stay in the same role, but you view yourself differently, then
Right.
that brings another layer or barriers.
Camp, you see what's on the screen?
Mm-hmm.
Why they kill everybody in the house and they was at home?
Oh, it was the. Oh, okay, I see it. Yeah, the rest of it.
So it looked like it's a question. Like why would they? What was the situation that was so big that they had to go ahead and kill?
No, the family member that was married
Mm-hmm.
got killed in front of the house while everybody else was inside, like relatives, like
Mm-hmm.
cousins, aunts, uncles, sister,
Right.
brother-in-laws, kids.
Oh
It,
wow.
it was a family member that tried to intervene before,
Mm-hmm.
and the family member was told, "Oh, everything is okay. You can go back in the house. We're just talking."
Mm.
Right.
From both sides. Oh, we're just talking. And then it happened after that. So yeah.
Okay.
That's awful.
That is.
Yeah. And it's happened more than once. So just the whole even from a young age, like when you that's how I was saying like a couple of weeks ago. When you see something, say something.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Because you think even the perfect couple, and either one could be drowning,
Right.
whether it be depression or just life, just regular life,
Mm-hmm.
just trying to figure life out. So yeah, that's what I was saying. But in
Mary,
terms
you up
of
there twice.
You said what?
I said
oh, Doc.
she's logged in under you.
Yeah, so that we could go live on time.
I know. I was just saying you're showing up twice.
Oh, I
So
remembered I didn't do
oh,
something. I'm sorry. I'm present.
and so what y'all was asking and talking about. So is there a way to change that if one person wants to change your role but you don't, or vice versa?
What you mean by that, Cam?
In terms of the role you're playing, like if I'm like, oh, like say I'm a stay-at-home mom, and that's how I was in the beginning, but now my kids are teenagers and I want to go to work. I want to have some independence, but he like, no, I'll bring home the check.
Mm-hmm.
So what my
Mm,
check provides, that's what we gonna do. But you want to like get some work experience. Your role will be different. It won't be like just an example, just to stay at home mom. So how do you navigate that?
right. I think
That could be a role changer.
I mean that is a
Maybe.
role changer, but I think that when the roles are changing, it's probably where the communication becomes disconnected if you
Mhm.
don't feel comfortable to kind of talk about how the roles are changing. Not necessarily not asking permission. I'm never saying that. Yeah, I'm never saying that. I'm just saying like when the roles are changing or like something new because I think even Ruth said it earlier in an earlier comment that you can life changes like every I want to say 2 to 5 years, but it could be
Mhm.
less, it could be longer. Your
Every day.
relationship changes like in season, so you have to still keep the communication fresh and lively and being vulnerable, knowing that you both gonna grow, but yeah, like just talking it through, because if you don't talk it through and it's blindsiding, then it's a disconnect in how you talking, like you're not communicating on the same page.
And I feel like some people may need a mediator. So I think therapy is good as
Mm-hmm.
well. Because some
Mm-hmm.
people you can say what you mean, like you could just communicate, and they just be like, "What? Like this was our dream."
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Or
no,
this
that was
was
your
our
dream.
dream.
Right.
It
Right.
was,
It was our, now it's your.
Yes. Mm-hmm. That happens
and it's like,
often.
what changed? We were good. What was it? Me? Did you watch the movie? Like what? You've been talking to your friends? What's going on?
I think like
Mhm.
if we go back to just using a scenario that I had shared about the
Mm-hmm.
couple changing after the 2 years of marriage, I think that a lot of times people just have different spiritual journeys.
Mm-hmm.
And because we've been raised to have these certain values and beliefs like put in place, and then when it's the oha shock and shame around certain things, it just makes it challenging if you now think differently than what you were raised for or what it is that you
Right.
were dating and understanding that your relationship was going to be like, and now there's a shift. But then it takes us back to you need to have a conversation about stuff.
Mhm. Mhm.
How long were they together before they got married?
Good
I think
question.
they've known each other for a long time, so then that's muddy waters.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
like almost a lifetime, long time.
Oh, like childhood
And
friends
at one of the
type thing.
cookouts, they was like, "Hey,
You cute.
hey, you cute. Let's go to the park. Let's have a date." And
Mhm.
so they didn't really do the dating thing before jumping into this lifetime commitment. I mean, one of the social constructs, dang, can I say this? One of the social constructs is that they're down south but the cars are registered or were registered in Pennsylvania because Pennsylvania is cheaper. But now they're not registered anymore, but they're still down south. So if they get pulled over in an unregistered car, he like, I'm not paying that because that's the social system and I'm not following the social system. So she's in jeopardy in her profession and he's in jeopardy in his as well.
Mm.
Just
But
bring
that's
the
just
car back and get it registered.
or register where it is that you truly reside and pay the extra.
Where you truly reside in.
Yes.
He said he's not paying it anywhere, that those are fees that don't apply to him.
Mm.
Then he
Oh,
can
he
drive
gonna
by
pay. He
himself.
gonna pay. He
He
gonna
can
pay
drive
one way
by
or the other.
himself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's inviting trouble.
That's inviting trouble. And he's
That is.
a black man with locks. Like, you inviting trouble
Oh,
down south
yeah,
with
yeah, yeah.
illegal paperwork. Like, you asking and inviting energy that you don't even need.
Absolutely.
That's
Driving
funny.
dirty for no reason.
That couldn't be me. I'd be getting out the car. Look.
Right.
Oh
I mean,
yeah,
she
me
has
too.
a high profile position too, so like,
Oh yeah, for sure.
it could go left
Easy, quick, fast, in a
quickly.
hurry.
Yeah, and she's working
And,
for the
and
government. Like, come on.
well,
Oh,
and
you
just
need
the
your stuff
just
done.
and just the inconvenience of being stopped and cars
Yeah.
towed and all that comes
Mm-hmm.
with that. It just doesn't
Well,
make sense.
so can she just pay it and give him a different bill? I don't know. Like, what's the?
She could definitely pay it and manage it, but in the roles and the positions of the relationship, he was
Gotcha.
responsible for
For
the
that.
cars.
Gotcha.
Right. She thought that they were registered. Recently found out that they weren't. So it was okay when
Oh
they
my
was
God.
registered, but she just stumbled upon the information that is
That's
not.
a major argument.
And they live very far from Pennsylvania. That's all I got to say.
Wow.
Very,
Well,
very
that's
far.
like me saying I'm gonna register my car and
I
not
agree with
yours.
April. That's going to be we're going to have a long conversation about that because you're putting me in jeopardy and I don't even know it.
Listen, yeah.
When I get
Okay.
pulled over, I'm like, here's registration. What you mean it's not registered? I'm thinking it
Right.
is. That's a problem. I'm gonna be
What's
hot.
the
I'm
word I'm
like,
looking
yo,
for?
officer, take him.
So then, like, what role
That's
would you guys suggest
dishonesty.
that she play in that situation now, knowing that she's riding dirty every single time with a government high level position
That's craziness.
and all that it
I'm mad for
can
her.
entail?
Right.
Yeah,
That's
the position, whatever the details
But
that I
she
gotta.
not okay with that, Ronnie. No, that's why I came up in the therapy room. We was
Mm.
pulling the curtain back.
Mm-mm.
Look,
Yeah,
how
I
do
think I would have to go
That's
therapy?
whatever
dishonesty.
car
And she happened to
whatever car
stumble
I
on
was
it.
driving in. Yeah, that's terrible.
That's
Whatever car I was
that's the
driving in, I would
problem.
have to register.
But not
Yeah,
telling, but not saying anything. That's just
Mhm.
totally dishonest. Like you lying
Yeah.
about omission. That's a problem. That
Oh,
needs
Mm.
to be a
and the
problem.
car note, and that the car note was
What?
paid. And
Oh,
girl,
It's
I
a
was
bunch
like,
of
where did this come from?
nonsense.
That's
Bunch
just
of
if the car note
nonsense.
not
irresponsible.
being
Yes.
paid,
Exactly.
Huh?
Mm-mm.
if the car note not being paid, you might need to catch the bus.
No, you got to ride
well,
in your big
both
Hummer Jeep
Oh
truck.
both gonna be catching
God.
the bus.
Yeah.
Both
Right.
gonna be catching the bus
Right.
when they come get it. When they come get it, both of y'all gonna
You
have
think it's
a
paid
transit
for,
pass.
but it's not being paid. That's a problem too.
All right, so what would be the position and role that someone would play if one person in a partnership is deciding that, okay, I'm going to study for this licensure or credential or something, so I'm going to take a month off from work and we're going to be okay. Like I'm going to take a month off. I'm not going to get paid because I just started the situation. What position and role, how would that work out for y'all?
I just need you to have
Well,
3 to 6 months of reserves.
Right,
Mm-hmm.
right.
Point blank, period.
Yes,
Right.
we need a discussion more
Yeah.
than the day before or the week
Yeah.
that you decide to make this decision.
Right.
So that we can prepare as a team so that we're not
Yeah.
hurting while you
Right.
do this.
Right. Daryl, what do you say?
we kind of had this conversation already. I think it's just, I mean, because you want to do something, you better have it detailed to make sure that nothing else, like no one is really, it's not felt, right? So like bills got to be paid. Everything has to be kept up, and current. Because if stuff starts falling behind, I get we have dreams, but our dreams have to be, since we're a couple, have to make sure everything still runs. So it would have to be a long conversation, and we'd have to make sure, like Camp said, have that reserve money that can hold us for a month or two, just in case you don't get back into work right after that.
Right, and in the reserves, where's my quality time?
Exactly.
You studying, and you need to. So if like Doc said, if we can prep and plan for this, I need to be having additional date nights or additional things need to be done before you take this month hiatus to do your licensure. Nothing wrong with it, but
Date night.
yeah, you
What,
gotta do
what
something.
date night got? Well, I think I would.
Date night has
I
everything to do with it.
Quality. I said quality time.
I would hope that wouldn't change, right? What I mean? Again, that's part of the planning. The
Man.
plan, like I said, things should not change that much as far as how the house is flowing. You might have to have scheduled time to study, but the date nights, the stuff with the kids, all that stuff should still kind of go as close to it was as before.
But
You might lose
sometimes
some
it
time.
don't.
Well,
Sometimes
again,
all
what
that takes a
wait a
back
minute, you
seat
just
when you're
said,
studying.
Or I might
We're
need
only
you to
talking
pick
30
up the
days,
child
people.
care.
It's
you
only
just
30
said,
days.
wait a minute, you just said you're not working
It's
anymore.
only
So that
what?
means you have
It's
8
only 30
No,
hours.
I'm
days.
taking 30 days. I'm taking 30 days off so that
Right.
Absolutely.
I can have dedicated time to prepare for this next, licensure, whatever it is that's going to enhance our income as a family
Right.
on the other side. But it's going to be a month that I'm not going to work. And I can't do this with having a new child and marriage and maintaining a house
Right.
and doing work, all of that. So this is the best way that I can see my wellness still being present in the home, but then also getting us to that next level. Us to the
So,
Right.
next
But
level.
wait,
But
so the
what is
hope is that you have
us?
a supporting partner who's going to
right.
support your dream,
Right.
and you put a plan in place so that your financial needs are being met.
Right.
I hear what you're saying, Camp, regarding the extra time. I don't know if I would be willing to give up. I mean, to give extra time when we're already in a crunch. Like,
I see what you're saying. Okay.
designated time, but if you gotta hone in on the studies and knock it out, it's only for 30 days.
Yes.
So, and I think that's when your partner comes in and supports you. Honey, I got your back. It's we're gonna knock it out together. We as
Well,
long
for
as the
I agree with that.
but we're saying it's gonna put this is for we. Well, it's not really for we. You got to
That's
talk to me.
exacusly what I said.
That's what I'm saying. So we have to see if it is for we, or if it's something that you want to do, and I'm like, okay, that you want to do it, but it might not be for. They both might not be in agreement with that, right? It might not. They feel like this is something better for us, but I don't necessarily. They may not necessarily feel. Whoever your partner is may not necessarily feel it, but it's only a month. I don't think a month is that big of a deal, right? That's
It's
30
not
days.
like being unemployed for a year.
Yeah,
True.
no, yeah. So a month to me is not really that amount of time. I think we can get through anything in a month.
right.
Now if we were talking about 6 months, then that's a whole. I think that's a little different, right? Because that's a lot further out. It's a lot, like I said, picking a kid, whatever routine you had, you're disrupting. That may be a little different, but a month, I don't think. Especially you said it's going to change things. I don't think that'll be a big deal. It shouldn't be. Long as too much isn't changing. Like I said, you have 8 hours now in the
Yeah,
study that you were at work.
No, what?
let me throw something in there for a
Go ahead.
second. So I think whether it's 30 days or 6 months, your partner should still be there supporting you. Here's an example. There's an injury, knee replacement, back surgery, whatever the case may be. That changes your lifestyle for at least 3 to 6 months. 3 to 6 months for recovery. So what are you telling your partner? I can't support you for the 3 to 6 months because
Do you
But
choose
you
to have a knee
agreed through
injury?
sickness and health.
Right.
But
the
you
roles
choose to have a
Don't
knee
bow.
the
injury.
roles definitely have to change up in
Change.
that
They
Exactly.
do.
situation.
They do.
Exactly.
But
They have
that's a
to.
whole different situation though. You don't choose to have a knee injury, right? So or we're talking about choosing
It said
to
in
further your
sickness and
education.
health.
No, what I'm saying is that that example of a knee injury, yes, you should be there. There's no question you should be there for a knee injury, right? That's unequivocal because someone's hurt. But if someone's choosing to have a different role, I can see that being more a decision made. I can see someone saying that's not for me. It's a difference in someone who's getting hurt and needs to than someone just wanting to do a different job, even if it's going to make you guys better. So I just don't think those two are interchangeable, right? I just
Okay.
don't think they are.
Mm.
Why? I
Whew,
mean, so Daryl, why are they
that
not
would be a tough one for
interchangeable?
me.
Because you don't choose to have a knee injury. I don't go out here and choose to go twist my knee and get surgery. But if I choose to go take this job and take and study and do it, that's a choice. They're different. They're
That's
very
not a
different things in
difference
my book.
because if my profession is a profession that requires me to always level up and do a licensure certification or whatever that's going to equal a 10 to 15, 25, $30,000 bump in our household up, then I don't see why it's a different conversation. It's a mutual sacrifice, but why is it a different conversation?
It's because
You
it's a
got on a suit
choice.
in the car?
Yes, it's
I can't.
it's
Y'all
a
funny.
it's a
All of
different.
a sudden, I
It's
saw a suit and a tie.
it's really it's different. One's a choice. One's an injury. It's
Hmm.
still a choice. Your job is your choice, right? Like you said, you're choosing to take off 30 days for this or whatever the case may be. That's a choice. I get it. That's a
Hmm.
conversation we can have. But if someone gets hurt, there's no choice in getting hurt, right? If someone's getting hurt, you should be there for your partner. No ifs and buts, whatever. You can't get mad at your partner for getting hurt. Well, let's say I hurt for something silly, but you can't get mad like, oh, you hate your knee. Now I got to take care of you. I don't think you should get mad for
What
that. But
What do you guys think about role changes if, like in your situation, Mary, it's a serious injury where you know that you're
Mhm.
gonna have to take on a whole different role because this person will not be able to do what they used to do.
Right,
Mhm.
right, right.
Some people can't handle it.
No.
Some people can't.
And some people don't stay
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
because a
don't,
lot of
because I was just
some
looking at the
people.
movie Just Right on the plane, and I
Oh,
forgot all about that part in the movie where she was
yeah.
like the gold digger, and once he got hurt, she was like, "Oh no, I gotta be watching
Mhm.
you all sick, and you're not gonna continue to play in
Mhm.
the NBA. I'm out, and gonna
Mhm.
leave a note with the ring. Like
Right.
you
Wow.
was only there through the good times, but you're not there." And that's the reason why I keep referring to the sickness and health and thinking about the
Mhm.
vows, because like it's not supposed to matter. Well, let me not say that because then Daryl's gonna start yelling on the screen. I just think that the situations may cause for a different intervention, but they both call for communication.
Mhm. Yes.
Gotcha.
Yes. And I mean, I know Daryl's not gonna like this either, but I venture to say, if you're being honest that you can't handle this, it's okay.
Right.
I
Right.
can't handle this change. I'm sorry. I don't have the capacity.
And that's a better conversation to have because then now I
Right.
know what supports I should be putting in place
Right.
to help during this time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes. I mean, sometimes your partner just doesn't have it.
Oh
And
yeah.
And you can't make nobody have it that don't got it.
right.
You either
Right.
got the or you don't. Dig
Okay,
deep.
so then let me give another scenario. Okay, well it
Mm-hmm.
logged me out, so I'll do that later. Um
Wait a minute. Before you go to your other scenario, I wanted to hear April's comment because she was like, mm-hmm.
I know that from experience.
which one? Which that you know?
The
Him not being able to
that
handle
your
it.
partner just may not be there. I mean, I remember this going to be a little graphic, but when I was having my baby, I had a C-section. I could not do certain things, and he was like, "Nah, I can't do that." You know, um, understandable, but at the same time, I couldn't do for myself at that particular time. You know, so I saw the strength in him, and I saw that I could not depend on him when it came to that. And some other scenarios, but people show you themselves.
They sure do.
Yeah. So,
and we don't always want to believe what it is that we see, but then when it's like blaring,
amen.
yeah, yeah. Look, his mama came in to help me. I was like, oh
no.
oh.
Get her out.
I was like, no, I can do it. I can do it. It wasn't that because she was, she had that nursing background, but I was just like, no, I was prideful. Like, no, that's a little personal. So I can do
it. But I think it's a better conversation, like Mary said, when you say I can't,
right?
I can't, as opposed to faking like you can, or just not, or just ignoring the situation.
Right.
Or sometimes you can, but you choose not to.
Right. That
Yeah.
That too.
That's even worse, I think.
Right. Right. So the other scenario, other scenario I was going to add is everybody deals with grief differently. And so the position or the role that you play, with your partner and their grieving, how would you feel if 2 weeks prior a significant member in your family passes away? You're still in grieving mode. Yes, you all were supposed to take a vacation on the 3rd week, but I communicated to you when my family member passed away that taking these days off from work, I now no longer have time for vacation. Can we push it back? Or push it to after I earn some time. And the partner says, okay. On Sunday, they say okay. On Tuesday, they say, well, I need to get away before my own mental health, and I'm leaving and going to the Caribbean island and leaving you in the middle of your grief.
Wow.
Because I need to get away.
I think I'll be going when you got back.
Wow.
I mean,
I don't know how to answer
that.
I'm with you, Doc. Oh,
I probably by the time you got back, I probably would have changed a lot.
Yes, for sure.
The petty me would have changed a lot.
Right,
for sure.
Right.
The petty me. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Your own
and
mental health.
had just stuff at Goodwill.
Yeah, that would be a deal breaker. Like you can't come back to this address and think that everything is all right.
For sure.
Wow.
And I won't even.
And then try to come back and get some of the cookies. Like,
oh hell no!
You left those when you went on the Caribbean with your boys.
The bakery is closed.
Exactly. And I wouldn't even say it was a tough decision because it's not.
Right.
It's not a tough decision. I mean, if you can't be there for me in that time,
and we have a young child as well.
Yeah.
Wow. That's just how can I say reckless.
Child. Trying to play poker face in these situations when people be bringing it up in the session, you'd be like, okay, wait, no, is that it? Like, what else?
Really not.
That sounds like
wait, wasn't that?
I mean, there are I do believe that there are some points in time where you have to really step up for your partner and put yourself on the back burner. That's just part of being in a relationship sometimes.
But it's a testimonial to their character. So
that's how you know if they're a keeper or not.
yeah.
But sometimes that's when you actually see the red flags that you didn't see 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But do you say, okay, let's talk about it, let's go to therapy, or do you be like, no, the locks has changed, bro, go back to wherever?
When like if my partner doesn't show up for something major like that, and then it gets me to thinking, and I start thinking about the before we got together, friendship, the dating, the whole related marriage, whatever. Then it started adding up. I start getting pissed, and I'm like, it's over because you ain't really been there for me because I've been holding it in.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like you lose someone every day.
Right. And not a
so when that occurs, it's a huge deal. And you should be able to put whatever you got going on to the side and be there for me.
Right.
Yeah.
As my lifelong partner, allegedly.
Yes, of course. Wow.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm like, are we having a tantrum at 40 somebody years old in your marriage? Like, are you serious?
They do.
Tantrums do occur.
They do. They do. And I know this, but I was, just but to reflect the mirror on the partner that said it, it was just like, okay, you don't see why this would be a problem? Nope, because I needed to go away. You're in a marriage. Like it's we.
Right.
It's partnership.
And then there are times where you have to take care of yourself. But that timing was all wrong.
All wrong. All wrong. Yeah, because in a different set of timing, the partner had no problem with them taking men trips or whatever. But like in the sequence of it being 3 weeks and I mean, and then I'm like, okay, well, is he cheating? Like, I can only go there because Daryl ain't on here no more. Jeez.
If you really needed to hang out with your boys, you could have went to the bar.
True.
Meantime, in between time, until we could go on vacation together, or hung out and watched a fight or game or something.
Right. Because I'm needing you right now. Like I'm needing you, and then I'm also needing support with managing our young child during the time that I'm not 100% present.
It gets me because I see this behavior in some of the couples, and they'll use that. They'll come into session, Mary, and use that and say, "Well, you said I need to take care of myself too, right?" Like, come on,
that right there, that right there. Or be like, the therapist said we had to have individual time and then we time. I'm like, no, you misunderstood that. Right,
wrong time.
You misunderstood that.
You know good well that's not what I was talking about.
Right.
Wow.
Right.
I ain't gonna lie. In my 20s, I probably would have been in the car on a plane somewhere if I wanted to go somewhere.
No, this situation is of some 40-year-old people.
You said what?
Not during when someone's grieving, right?
Yeah.
Not grieving.
Right.
Refusing to go to the doctor? Yes. But not grieving.
Right.
That's different.
Right.
That happened in real life. But yeah, not grieving. Grieving is different because people grieve differently. And
people grieve differently.
And people need different levels of support when grieving. It depends on who the person was, too.
It was the grandma.
That's grandma. You need to stay. Stay put.
Right. The grandma that raised me. Not just grandma, but the grandma that raised me. So that's multiple roles that individual has.
Yep.
That now, is no longer here in the physical sense, and you abandoned me.
Of course. Yes. I just lost my stepmom. If my husband and of course I have both my parents, but my stepmom was in my life since I was 6 years old.
Right. Right.
So
Right.
if my husband has said I'm going on a trip while I'm grieving my stepmom, you best believe I'll be telling him you should probably stay wherever it is you go.
Mm-hmm.
Make
Mm-hmm.
sure
Don't come back. Yeah, right.
you stay there.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-mm-mm. Yeah, best
Mhm.
believe them passports will not be available.
Mm-mm.
That's an
Unless you said to
instant
me,
role
All the bank
change.
account
now
information
if you
will be
said to
changed.
me, I want to take you away to kind of help you
Get your mind
process
away
through
from
this
yeah.
and
Right,
get
right.
away from everybody, I'd be like,
That's
oh,
different.
okay. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
And it's like the vacation was already planned. However, I don't have that much time accrued. But I'm what, I'm gonna not go to the services so I can go to vacation? That's selfish.
Yeah. No.
Right.
Mm-mm.
Look,
Right.
man up.
Right. Yes. Yes.
Mm-mm-mm.
That's crazy. Oh, I shouldn't say that. That's ludicrous.
Yeah, that's an instant role change right there.
Exactly.
That's
Mhm.
I
Exactly.
think that's also a respect issue. I just see so many levels with that.
Yeah.
You
Yep.
don't respect me and what I got
Yep.
going. Like you don't respect me. Period.
Right. Thank
Like you can't respect a piece of me and not all. Like you just don't respect me. Period. As not as your wife, as a woman. Like that's crazy. Yeah.
you. Mm.
Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm. Yes.
Absolutely, Ruth.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Hey.
relationships are important.
And I think,
But
Matt,
next
you
talk
funny.
about it. You talk about it over and over again about knowing what it is you can handle and communication and but a lot of times people really have a hard time talking about what they really want, what they really need, what they really feel. And these the kind of paths it leads to,
Mm-hmm.
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 you
Mm-hmm.
know?
When you don't have those honest, vulnerable, risky, but necessary
Conversations.
conversations. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I don't like having these conversations, but I'll have them just to get them out the way because I don't like
Mhm.
stuff lingering.
Mhm.
Right.
Exactly.
And I'll just say
Exactly.
it and be like, "So okay, what do you think about that?"
And sometimes you
'Cause
could
they
begin
have to
to
be.
plant the
It has
seeds
to
for
be
these
done.
type conversations, but you can't resolve it all at one sitting. Like
Right.
sometimes you have
Right.
to come
Oh
back to it
yeah.
a couple times to get resolved and
Mhm.
determine, if an outside intervention is necessary too. Because if your communication is so jaded, it's like, okay, wait a minute. How
Yeah.
how how you just so far left with this?
Mhm. But the
Yeah.
conversation is necessary.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Like just like you mentioned the couple you was talking about earlier about the whole spirituality, religion. I went through that. And I woke up and I was like, has my whole marriage been a lie?
Mm.
Wait, what'd you
Because
say?
I went through that.
Which that? I'm sorry.
Oh, the when you mentioned
I'm
earlier
still
about
on
the
island time. I
sorry,
apologize.
about the spirituality
Oh yeah,
of
yeah,
one.
yeah.
So I went through that. I was the person like, what? This all I've known, like us to be or you to be. And now you telling me
Mhm.
you believe something different. But
Right.
I also had to think about everybody has their own aha moment. And
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
our past, my past may not be your past or vice versa. Our paths could be together, but our spiritual path may look a little different because
Right.
everybody
Mhm.
reaches their aha moment at different times. And I was like,
Mhm.
I came to the conclusion I couldn't hold that against them.
Right.
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 And I actually believe there was a lot that he believed, and to be honest, when I think about it, I still think, you know how you can believe the same thing, but you have different names for different things.
Mhm.
So,
Mhm.
and the gist of it, foundation is still the same. It's just some differences, but it's still there. So that's what I had because you wake up and be like, you don't believe in what who? And I'm like, have you been thinking this the whole time and never said anything?
Right.
Or did you just go along with what I believed in because you really wanted to be with me so badly and you knew I
Mm.
wasn't having any of that? And I would have been like, we ain't on the same page, so we just be friends.
Wow.
And I even asked the question, like, did you just go along to get along because you wanted to like have sex with me? Like what I mean, you have to ask these questions. So I just think that's a major one. Because some of these like conversations we've been talking about, they're like you said, not one conversation that can be life changing. Like
Right.
going on something you have to revisit every year. And so
And
now
I think it goes to a question that was posted up a while back, but how often do you have these conversations about the change of roles or the change of positions or whatever, like it's important.
And once a year, I think about mid-year, like July, August, every year.
Around your birthday.
I know. I go, so it's funny. I'll be like, so do you still believe this? Are you on a different trajectory?
Right.
Have you got a new awake? And he'd be like, why you ask me that? I said, I just, I need to check in on this particular one thing. I need at least.
You do have to check in sometimes. I hear you. You do. You do.
Because it's been to where you know how you do like dates and you're out with friends, you're at a cookout pre-COVID and all this other stuff. And people, men, women, general, just talk about stuff. And then your significant other say something, you like, I ain't never know that. Like you just don't really, I've been there, you're blindsided. And you just like, well, let me know. And then my friend is looking at me like, LaJoy, you do this? Girl, I ain't. It must have changed mid-year. So that's why I do my little check-in with it.
Well, that's good. You got the 6-month check-in. I remember Doc and I don't know, at one point in our journey of working together, we was thinking of having like a relationship check-in workshops for people in relationships, over a long period of time. And we was really interested in doing that at that point. We were. Yeah, so like it's important. I mean, I said all of that to say we thought about it before, but it's still important in today's conversation that if it's a once a month, 3 months, 6 months, whatever it is, you need to have that check-in with your partner to know that you guys are still, understanding what you both need, where we growing to, where we got some blind spots, how we gonna work together to make it be great.
Yeah, ever thought about putting together a checklist for like people in partnerships, couples, whatever, so they can ask each other if they don't know where to start, like they don't have a place to start from, in terms of like conversation starter or how to address certain things, like a checklist. Like this are questions you could ask, and this could lead to other questions or answers you may know. You know what I'm saying?
That sounds like a great idea.
That is a great idea. I hadn't
sometimes you get sitting there like,
right.
how am I start this conversation? We done already talked about bills, kids, what we ate, our day at school, what vacation. Like you done talked about everything else.
Right. And I'm just wondering, Doc, too, like along that lines of the checklist, wouldn't it go in alignment, I guess, a lot of bit instead of a little bit with the it is what it is?
Yeah.
Yes,
it would.
You might want to tell people what the it is what it is.
Yes, it is.
It could be a part of your part 2.
Yes. I've been thinking about part 2.
Oh, you have a part 2 coming out?
No, you just helped to push the envelope for the part 2.
Yes, for real.
Okay.
Yes.
She has part 1 of It Is What It Is, where she authored and is talking about relationships and coupleships and stuff like that. So like when you said that, I mean, I have no problem contributing to it, but I'm like, it already is in complement to what she has in place already.
Because if you had something like that, I would definitely buy it and have it by the nightstand and be like, turn to page 5. So this question says, I think we should talk. No, I do that. I have other stuff that I actually open up and be like, whoa, I was reading this book. And I thought it would be, we should talk about like this section of it. What do you think? He'd be like, really? Yeah. Really? So yeah, I would have that in my nightstand.
Yes, it is what it is unless you do something different, right? Your relationship
by Doc Carissa.
Yes, your relationship will never be different if you keep doing the same stuff over and over again.
And maybe you should develop one for you, besides couples too. Develop one for just people thinking about themselves as well.
Mhm.
You know, people be thinking different result doing the same thing.
Same thing over and over and over again. Never get a different result. That's just it's not going to
And then
happen.
and project it out to everybody else. Everything always happened the same. No, sweetie.
Mhm.
They be like, it
That's
wasn't
not
my
how this
fault.
business works.
It wasn't my fault. I didn't
Yes,
get
I
it this
mean,
time.
if you had 5 bad relationships, you're the common denominator.
Yes. Or you be like, oh, I'm gonna just move from the East Coast to the Midwest. Well, guess what? You packing you into the suitcase,
Mhm.
driving, flying, however, and going to the next location, taking that
Yes.
same unresolved stuff
Yes.
there because
Yes.
you're the common denominator.
Exactly. All your behaviors, all your automatic thoughts, all your core beliefs, they're all the same no matter what coast you're on.
Mm-hmm.
So
Until you
true.
decide to do something different.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah.
Because first, when
So,
y'all had this topic up, I didn't know which way y'all was coming from it. So I was just like, I'm gonna listen and see what.
yeah. Uh-oh. Mommy kicked in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because he's on my new bar stool.
But you
That's it.
said when we first had the topic, you wasn't sure
Yeah,
what?
because I didn't know like what y'all coming from sexual positions, or were y'all talking about positions in being different relationships,
Yeah,
or
me
in
either.
terms of like how you position yourself to be in a relationship versus
Mm.
not like
Mm.
and the jumping. I was like jump.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was a couple different things with the intentions that we could probably spin off a couple different times. April acting like she don't remember the conversation, but
I
April was
do
like,
remember. I do remember it.
She was like,
It
I
was
remember us being in after hours to some close to midnight.
oh
really?
yeah. Look, you know my brain shut down after like 10. So
It's 9:51 now.
I
it's
know.
good there. It's good.
You like it's a little loose right now, huh?
Uh-huh.
I thought Durham was gonna come back.
Nope.
No, he had a commitment, so yeah,
Okay.
no.
Gotcha.
Because he had agreed to be the host and then he remembered
Oh
his
yeah,
commitment.
that's right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Folks.
Any excuse.
Any excuse. Yeah, so we got any closing comments or things that people think that we should take this conversation to next week about jumping positions and roles?
Whatever position you decide to take, as long as you commit to it,
Yeah.
you're happy with it, it's your choice.
Mm-hmm.
If you need a reassessment, just sit down with your partner and talk about it. See where that goes.
Mm-hmm.
Keep
Okay.
that line of communication open.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
I was
agree with that. Don't blindside. Don't
Right.
blindside folks.
Right.
You know, if you feel like you need a role change,
yeah.
then that's a discussion.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Or if new stuff is of interest to you, like that's not it shouldn't be shameful or a negative consequence. It should be, okay, this is what's coming up for me. Can we consider this conversation or like look at how it could benefit us but impact us at the same time? Like, and I think that goes with money conversations, with are we going to move and buy a new house or investments that you do? Sexual stuff that you do, like it just comes across as so many different things that
Yes,
you come across.
yes,
Like
yes.
you
Can
just
we
gotta be mindful. It's a consistent intervention, but it's like people want to compartmentalize and think that certain things are separate.
I would say, don't be
Don't be
afraid to
laughing at me,
show who
April.
you are. Don't be afraid.
the visual?
Don't be afraid to show who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Truly, as she get eyes to somebody.
Yeah, because I don't. Yeah, don't be afraid to show who you are.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because and that's a good point because a lot of times we start relationships one way
Right.
Mhm.
because we want to be our best, and then we start letting the real us show when we should have
Mhm.
the real us showing right from the beginning.
Right.
Mm.
If we know who that is. Now that's probably the
True.
trick, is that
Yes.
we don't
Yes.
know who the
Yes.
real us is or the real
Yes.
person is individually before we begin to connect with somebody else.
Mm.
True.
Mm.
True.
That's so true.
Yeah, we be
Sometimes,
putting on all these filters.
but depends on where you at. Like sometimes that person may help you find your true self,
True.
and then they're like, "Okay, I helped you find your true self, but I may not like your true self,"
Right.
and that can cause issues, even though the partner has been a part of the development.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Very true.
Very, very true. Because you can have a spending addiction or habit that contradicts the growth plan that we may have, and you don't see how you may need to curb that so that we can enhance in different ways. You be like, no, I'm not gonna go after the shoes, but like I need to go do my shopping or spending or whatever, but you just gotta just have a broader forward thinking self, and that takes growth and maturity.
For
It
sure.
definitely does. I had a thing for professional nail polish. But bottle for runs you $15 to $20. But nail polish, there's a difference. There's a difference. That's all.
Quality.
Mm.
People
But
redefine quality very differently though, like quality relationships, quality in materials, quality in like how
right,
they get their hair done, quality
Mhm.
in like things that they wear. So like quality time, like all of those
it
things
varies.
are arbitrary based on the person's
Mm-hmm.
perception. And you got to
Mm-hmm.
see if you guys share the same reality, or can you
Yep.
create what that same reality could look like.
Mhm. Yeah, people don't have the same standards.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Nope. And you had that fantasy relationship for so many years. And then you're like, well, where'd that come from? Like, I've been doing the same thing all the time.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
That just made me think about, and we don't have to jump into no long conversation about it. It just made me think about somebody who, for their birthday, like they are evolving, like and just moving to a whole nother thing, and about to be working outside of the country of the United States as a therapist. And I probably shouldn't have said that part, but that's okay. And the person that they were dating was gave them like a $700 pair of shoes or boots or something like that, and thought that that's all that needed to be done for the birthday. Now, $700 for some boots is expensive. However, the person was looking for quality time
Hmm.
and not the materialistic $700 boots, and kept
Okay.
looking at the partner like, well, what you mean? I got you $700 boots.
Mm-hmm.
And she like,
See, it depends
no.
on the value you place on things.
Mhm.
I'd have took them
Yeah.
boots and been happy,
I probably would have took them boots and
but
flipped it.
I place great
Took the boots
value
and
on
flipped it.
shoes.
Exactly. Right. I mean, and this person does too, but it was just like at the moment I guess they feel like I could have bought that. I wanted to spend more time with you
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
because we haven't been able to spend time together, and that's what we've been doing all these other years of our relationship. And
I spent
team
time with
petty.
with them
At
Right.
first,
boots.
I thought she was gonna say she was. At first, I thought she was gonna say she was looking for a ring, and I would have been like,
No.
"That's why I was like, boots, okay."
Yeah, no, not at all. She's like, I'm going to another country to work and I'll be all right.
Mm-mm-mm.
And I don't know if she's looking at this because she'll call me laughing. But
I would have took the boots and asked for my quality time.
that's what she was saying.
Right.
Like, okay, those are nice,
Right.
but what we doing? Like,
When we
Right.
hanging out.
Right.
Wow.
Well,
Mm-mm.
thanks for the boots.
Yes.
That's hilarious. So I guess if nobody, has anything as far as what we should do to jump off, not jump off, jump on.
Next
She
week.
is
Yeah, next week. I mean, we did talk about that April in the
that
back room.
vacation boy. I tell you. Wait until we get into the green room.
Okay. All right, guys. Good night.
Oh goodness.
Good
All right.
night. Have a good weekend, everybody.
Absolutely. Y'all take care. Be safe. We see you next Friday for the sips and the chats.
Yes.